Welcome to Brazil, fellow leaders of the mining industry. It's with deep personal regret I can't be with you. I'm back here in Western Australia, thanking all of you coming together, sharing visions, techniques and leadership skills, and I know this conference will be extremely valuable to all of us. For my small part, back here at home, I'd like to share with you just 4 things. How to build a company from scratch, or even a division of your company from scratch. The two are exactly the same. How to accelerate the implementation of a project, increase its budget certainty and your confidence as a leader in its schedule. I'd like to speak with you about relieving the manpower shortage, and also finally about your most important asset, the culture which pumps in the heart of your people and it expresses itself everywhere they go in your company. Each of these could be small theses in themselves, but I'd like to give you only my deep personal experience and talk you through it briefly and informally as though I was with you now. Whether or not you're building a division of your major company or starting a company from scratch, I find to do it effectively, the process, the techniques is exactly the same. First, it starts with your imagination. What would you like the division of your company to be? Huge, small, highly technical, world-beating, just a small addition to earnings. But decide for yourself what you want for that division or that new company. Don't let reality come into the equation. Once that's clear in your mind, then bring in the kind of people who you know you will need at the end to lead that project, to operate that operation, to execute that company for you. When you have those people in mind, then bring them in now. Bring them in now when you have absolutely nothing, and have them work with you to determine the often absolutely unrealistic steps which it takes to go from there, step by step by step by step, right down to where you are sitting today in Brazil. What you've done through that small equation is take an unrealistic hope, a dream impossible to be fulfilled with the reality you currently have, and you've changed it neatly to a plan. Now start on that plan. No matter how hard and how unrealistic, you have the steps. These steps will change, but you have the steps to get to your goal. As you go through these steps, you will of course attract more and more people into your operation or into your project or into that division. There'll be plenty of very well-meant people who'll have other ideas, other cultures, other ways of doing things which will interrupt that focus. Relieve them from being in your operation, from being in your company. I know that might sound a little tough, but in fact you're setting them free to pursue what they really want to express. What you must do is keep an absolute focus within your division or within your project on that ultimate goal, and keep the culture which is driving that very tight. Those who want a different culture, those who might not want to work in open plan, those who may need their big walnut veneered offices with their ensuite bathrooms, which a door they can close to their workmates, allow them to pursue their careers elsewhere. But in your division, which you're building from nothing, you must keep that culture absolute and that focus complete. Lastly, of course, it's easy to say, but never, ever give up. Instill that determination into everyone who joins you, and you will achieve that new project. Let's assume now that you've pared down that budget, you've done think tanks around it, you've taken your people away off sites, set them unrealistic targets to reduce the capital, reduce the schedule by 30–40%. You've come back out of those weekend retreats, you're pumped and you're ready to go, and you've got a budget and a schedule you're prepared to stake your life on. Where you have traditionally an engineer, procure, construct and manage contractor, take them as advisors. Take them as technical advisors, as detail advisors, but you yourself look through the major gamuts of your project. In our case, it was a port, it's a railway line. It was a mine, it was a mining fleet, it was a geological and mining study, it was all the technical data which underpinned all of those massive proponents. But we looked at it ourselves and said, okay, help us, Mr. EPCM contractor or Mr. engineer, determine the best people around the world to supply these services or to supply this equipment. Then stop it there. You yourself as a chief executive or the project head with your chief executive, go to these suppliers. Say, this is your project, you're reporting to your chief executive. What would you do as this ship supplier, this train operator? How would you build it? Put it right back on the vendors to tell you the best cost, the best scheduler and the highest quality to deliver you what you want. Don't dictate to them, say to them, I need this result. How will you supply it? I've found that that reduces the time and decreases the cost dramatically, simply by asking the vendors to assume they own the project, they own the company, what would they do? And then, of course, hold them to it. When we have delivered the Solomon project, and we're now only 6 months away from switching it on, from not commissioning in June 2014, which the market said was absolutely impossible, to now knowing it will be commissioned fully in the first calendar quarter of next year, we've only achieved that by taking advice from our vendors. The third topic I'd like to briefly touch on is how to alleviate the world's manpower shortage around the mining industry, and just basically how we've done it at Fortescue. I hope this is maybe simple lessons which can be adopted everywhere where we have Indigenous peoples. It starts with you. Even though generally you'll be speaking with Indigenous peoples who may not have your level of education, they're certainly equal with you and me in every other way. How we've done it is to say, okay, basic numeracy, literacy and a driver's license can be taught comfortably within a few weeks to almost anyone. We've taken now well over 1,000 Indigenous people who most often were classified as long-term unemployed and put them into employment. Some 2/3 of those work in Fortescue alone. A little over 1/3 are now scattered to the four winds of the resources and industrial sector. I'm immensely proud of that, but it's called simplification. It's simply determining all the basic skills up front, and there's not that many, you can fit them into 12, which a person needs to be completely unqualified to ever enter into a workplace or unsafe to ever enter a workplace, and bring them up to someone who candidly you would be happy to employ. We've done this with VTECs, Vocational Training and Employment Centres. And as we bring people in, give them those basic skills, start where they are, not where you'd like them to be, but where they are, where they need to learn numeracy, literacy and get their driver's license, basic health, basic life skills, and then they see the change in themselves. They note the tremendous change in such a short time, which the hope which they have in their spirit that they're going to get that job gives them the petrol in the tank, the huge incentive to keep on upskilling, to keep on learning. You get a person like that into your workforce, they've had a taste of absolute despair and a taste of real success. It mightn't be great success from where you sit, but from where they are, it's enormous. And they're now looking at you saying, well, if I can achieve this huge quantum change, I can achieve anything. And they make wonderful employers of yours. Now I'd like to take you to your most important asset and my most important point. A unity and a collective force of people with a common purpose and vision becomes quite literally an almost overwhelming force. At Fortescue, we've brought in what we consider to be family values. Determine what you consider as a leader to be the most powerful things to lead your business with, which you'd like everyone to share. A commonality of honesty, determination, integrity, enthusiasm, openness, ideas, worship of ideas, anything you like which can sweep across what you consider can create an unstoppable force within your company. Then capture them. Leave the psychologists and leave the HR experts out to just tinker around the edges, but have them reflect your personality. This is critical. Personalities, when they're not corporatized, become the most powerful communication weapons on earth. Save the corporate speak for the boardroom. You're communicating with your workforce. They want to know that you are a person, that they are a person, and they are not a brick in the wall. This is not corporate speak invented by some head office over the other side of the ocean, but in words with values that they can understand. Adopt that then as your culture across the company. What we do at Fortescue insists we love each other to keep each other safe in operations and safe in construction. We watch each other's back. We're there when anyone else falls, emotionally or physically. We're there for them. The common set of values, the common set of incentives, and the common set of beliefs in the value of what people do when they work for your company. Have that focused, have that universal, have that beating in the heart of every chest who works with you at your company. I thank you for your time, and I wish you the very best with your leadership conference. I'm sorry I can't be with you. Thank you.